Get rid of that. Okay, Nathan, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Nathan Wisbey. I am a Marquette sports performance intern coach, and today I will be talking to you guys about the sport of korfball. So what is korfball? Well, it's a team sport that originated in the Netherlands, and it involves 16 players, 8 per team on the court at once, and each team is composed of 4 women and 4 men. And the object of the game is to score more goals in the korf, which is the basket, an 11 and a half foot basket, score more goals than your opponent before the time runs out. So at the international level, the time clock is 4 periods of 10 minutes. At the club level, it is 2 periods of 25 minutes. So in korfball, there are 2 zones. You have an offensive zone and a defensive zone, and 4 players from each team are in those respective zones. So you have 2 men, 2 women in the offensive zone on one team, 2 men, 2 women in the same zone, in the defensive zone on the other team. So after 2 goals are scored, players on both sides will switch zones. So after 2 goals are scored, if you're in the offensive zone, you go to the defensive zone, and you have a 25-second shot clock. So you have high intensity bursts all out for those 25 seconds, and then it's a slow, relaxed period of walking and waiting for the next waiting for about 25 seconds until the next action goes. So let's talk about the different competitions. So first you have the International Korfball Federation World Korfball Championships. This is played at the international level. You have korfball at the World Games. This is probably the highest honor, the highest award for korfball, as the IKF World Korfball Championships are qualifiers for the World Games. And then you also have continental championships too, such as the European Korfball Championship. There's also the Pan American Championship too. So not only is korfball played at the international level, but it's also played at the club level too, such as in the Europa Cup. And this is where clubs from all over Europe are played to compete for the tournament. Now let's get into the different kinds of movements that can be seen in korfball. So korfball is a very complex and dynamic sport in that you are using your upper body and lower body throughout the entire time. There are over 125 bursts of accelerations and decelerations within one match. The movements include jumping, a lot of lateral movements, pivoting, cutting, change of direction. You have your jumping involved with shooting, your jumping involved with rebounding, and then also your defending too. So you have to be very versatile in the kinds of movements that you do. And also you have to be versatile with your ability on the ball. So to be able to jump with both your left and right foot, and also to be able to pass with your left and right hand. Now let's talk about the ideal athlete. This is a picture of the Dutch national team. They are the best in the world and have held many of the tournament wins over the past 10 years. So the ideal athlete is a well-rounded athlete, the player that's able to score goals, make rebounds, and then also assist too. So the better and quicker you're able to make a decision, the quicker you'll be able to get more goals too. And also, if you're able to create space, so if you're dynamic in your movements and you can create space from a defender, you'll be able to create an opportunity to score more goals. And stability is a huge factor in korfball, as your body goes through many unpredictable movements, or many unpredictable stimuli as you're going up for rebounds, or your defender is right up on you when you're trying to make an assist. And then also you also have to be physical, especially on rebounds too, because those are very competitive, and the one with the most physicality is going to be the one to win those. So a lot of the common injuries that can be seen are in the ankles, in the knees, especially ACLs, and then in the back with rebounding. And so how to reduce the risk of these injuries is by creating stiffness in the knees, ankles, and the core, creating more stability in all of those joints and areas. This can be done through utilization of resistance bands and also aqua bags, as seen here in the picture. So what the aqua bags do is they create different perturbations in different positions that the athlete might not necessarily be accustomed to. So it creates, they have to be able to create a strong and stable core, and then also stability within their respective areas, depending on the position that they're in. So now we'll get into the annual plan. As you can see here, I've labeled through competitions, the training phases, sub-phases, my mesocycles and my microcycles too. You have your European Korfball Championship in November. First we're going to start off with off-season from August to October, and then we'll start with preseason in November with the European Korfball Championship. And then in December, we'll have the start of the main season with the Dutch Korfball League. So that's at the club level. And then also you have the Europa Cup, which is also at the club level, starting in January 2. And then that will finish up in May. So that will be the ending of the first in-season. And then we'll transition into the World Games in July. So as you can see, I'm going through an anatomical adaptation for my first mesocycle, and then we're going into hypertrophy, maximum strength in the off season, and then for preseason we're looking on converting speed and power, continuing that into the in season, and then maintaining peaking at the end of the club season, tapering off a little bit, having more speed and power conversion, and then we're peaking in by the time of the World Games. So I just wanted to address the plyometrics and agility from the beginning. So with the plyometrics, with the agility drills, I chose to do more of basic drills in the beginning. So we'll be introducing, doing more known drills in the beginning, and sometimes introducing relatively new ones. This will continue into the max strength phase. And then in the conversion to power phase, we're going to be increasing the velocity within these agility drills. And then in the competitive phase, we'll be doing the same thing, increasing the velocity. And then we'll be tapering off before those finals in the World Games. And then if we're looking at plyometrics, there's an intensity scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the lowest intensity. We'll start off with 5 in the beginning, in the off season, in the anatomical adaptation phase, with exercises such as hurdle hops, and then we'll gradually increase the intensity with each new phase. And then we'll be getting to about a 2 or a 1, with tapering at the with about a 3 for the competitive phase. And so the 2, 1, and 3, those intensities include depth jumps or one leg bounding. I also wanted to include medicine ball work. We'll stay relatively light with the medicine balls throughout the entire plan, except for in the max strength phase. We'll increase about to medium weight, and then we'll gradually work our way back down towards a little lighter for the competitive phase. So then let's get into the off season. As you can see here, we'll start with anatomical adaptation, hypertrophy, and then the maximum strength. So with the off season, we start with anatomical adaptation. So this is the phase where we're going to prepare the body through like the muscles, ligaments, tendons, and joints for the rest of the plan, for the lengthy and the strenuous training phases. So we're going to start with a frequency of training about 4 times per week, as there's no sport training. We're going to have a high volume, sets of about 2 or 3, and then our reps are going to be from 12 to 20, and then we're going to go down to 6 to 8 throughout the rest of the anatomical adaptation phase. And we're also going to have low intensity during this too. So next, we're going to go into the hypertrophy phase with high to moderate volume. We're preparing. This phase acts as preparation for the next phase, where we're increasing strength to prepare our fast twitch muscle fibers. Frequency here is going to be about 3 times a week with sets, 3 to 6 sets, 10 to 20 reps. Our loading is going to be about 60 to 80% of our 1 rep max. And then what we really want to focus on here is slow eccentric movement and then explosive concentric movement. Next, we'll get into the maximum strength phase. So here we're increasing the strength of the muscles for primary Korfball movements. So what that is going to look like is frequency of about 3 times a week with training, moderate volume, and then we're increasing the intensity to a higher intensity of about 80 to 90%, 3 to 5 sets, about 4 to 8 reps, and then 2 to 5 main exercises with 1 to 3 accessories. And so then here's some of the exercises that I chose to do throughout the off season. I wanted to make sure that with the primary ones, I had my agonist and antagonist ratio throughout the entire thing. So you have your pushes, you have your pulls. And then as we progress through the off season, I'm increasing with how dynamic my movements are throughout the preparation phase, just to make better adaptations for the actual sport. And then I also have my accessory movements with some back extensions, abdominal work, bicep curls, tricep extensions, lateral front raises, etc. Stabilization with the aqua bag movements, and agility and plyometrics in the medicine ball are also going to be used throughout. Now let's get into the preseason phase. So first, so the preseason, it's all about the speed power conversion. Here we're converting the gains of the max strength phase into our competitive, more Korfball specific combinations of strength. And then I chose to use the velocity-based training for my preseason and my in-season because the benefits of using velocity-based training for individuals, irrespective of their training levels or training stressors or the individuals, they're going to get the same adaptations based on the velocity. So for the type of velocity-based training that I used, I have decided to use a fixed total number of reps, flexible sets, and a velocity loss threshold of about 10% initially and 5% for the latter half of the preseason. As far as sets go, it's as many sets as it takes to get to the fixed amount of reps as seen there. And as far as the load velocity profile goes, we're going to keep the individuals within a specific window of what we're looking for in terms of goals. So this is the velocity zones. So what we're looking for in the preseason phase is we're going to keep it around that 0.75 meters per second. So in between the strength and speed and accelerative strength area. And then here's some of the preseason exercises. Not too much of a difference, but as we're transitioning through the phases, we're looking to have more powerful movements now. So as I've got the split jerk and then the hang power clean too. Next, we're moving into the in-season. So here we've got in-season. And we're looking to improve the power still and get ready for this season. And we're going to turn back the percentage a little bit in this one, and we're going to go into the speed strength zone here. We're looking for a little bit lighter loads, and we're going to be moving it as quickly as possible with these explosive movements. And then we're going to move into the maintenance phase. So here we're looking at moderate intensities and moderate volumes, just to be able to maintain the strength and the power that we've gained from the preseason and the off-season phases. And we'll get into our peak. So here we're looking at high intensities with low volume. This is where we want our athletes to be at their best, so that they can perform at the highest level possible. So this will be during the club final. And then we're going to have to deload a little bit, turning back that percentage to some lighter loads. And then we're going to prep for the next peak with higher intensities too. And then we have that final peak for the World Games. So for the in-season velocity-based training, I chose to do a cap number of repetitions, fixed sets, and so I'll keep the velocity threshold at about velocity loss threshold, excuse me, at about 10% and then 5% for later on. So this will be the most prescribed velocity-based training while still allowing for individuality. So based on how players are, how many minutes the players are getting, they can still complete the training, but more to their, and while still getting the adaptations. So when we're looking at this, I'm looking at a reps count of about 16 at the velocity loss of 10%, and then a reps between 12, reps at about 12 at the 5% velocity loss. So the load velocity profile here is to keep individuals at what in the certain window with what we're looking at. So right here we're going to be looking at about a 1.3 for the speed strength in the December time, and then we're going to be maintaining that. And then as we're going, here's some of my in-season exercises too. And we'll just continue to build the speed initially throughout the in-season, and then maintaining, and then getting ready to peak towards the end of the in-season. So then what our final product is meant to look like here is, I hope that the athletes are able to achieve the dream of winning the gold medal at the World Games. And I'm hoping that I'm able to help them develop into their full athletic potential. Any questions?
Yeah, looks like Emily has a question. So go ahead, Em.
Hi, Nathan. Yep, this is Emily. I just want to say thank you for the presentation. I did not know about this sport prior to the presentation, so appreciate it. Learned a lot. With that, I think a unique aspect about this sport is the fact that males and females compete on the same team. So I want to ask you, within your training program here, do your males and females train differently at all?
So no, they do not train differently. I would have them train along the same way. The only thing that I would maybe adjust is the potentially tapering off, because I know that there are some differences and effects between tapering and peaking. So that would be about the only difference.
Nathan, if you want to stop sharing your screen,
sorry.
We can get back to our regular view. It looks good. It looks like Bobby's joined as well, which is awesome. Thanks for coming on, Bobby. I do have a question as well. Again, if anybody has a question, just kind of raise your little virtual hand thing there in the top menu. Question for me. So I like your reasoning for behind using VBT preseason, in-season. I just wanted to know, with the in-season, since it's pretty long and it goes all the way, you have your 2 peaks basically that you're looking for.
Yep.
You mentioned that you were looking to be in the lower end of the spectrum, so like 1.3, i.e. fast speeds. Is there any point during your in-season where you might touch maximal strength development again to have that kind of stimulus, or do you think you would stick with those high speeds and most likely lighter weights throughout the entirety of your in-season?
I would, just before the peaking, I think in the in-season, I would try and ramp up the intensities. So kind of straying away from the lighter loads there, so increasing the intensities and then lowering the volume there, just so that we can get that peak performance in there. towards the end of it.
Awesome. Good. And then I only had my other follow-up really was what Emily asked. Obviously, it's a pretty unique environment when you have male and female athletes, and it looked like from the pictures at the start you had some incidental contact in the air around the Korf. So I imagine you know the preparation that you need, especially for all athletes, but especially for female athletes and maybe undersized compared to the male counterparts and getting incidental contact, they probably need to have pretty robust knees and ankles. So yeah, it's really unique sport.
Definitely, especially with the aqua bags too. They huge in Korfball.
They're fans. Good. All right, I'm going to stop recording this part so that it'll save an individual video for Nathan, and then we will move on.